hide his anxiety, like, I'm fine, but it was coming off like, I'm like, kind of mean right now. What's your issue? Like, what is your problem? And then I realized, I'm like, oh, he's anxious. Because here we are, it's PTSD, not just for me, but for the person that went through it with me as well. So, really, if you're in a relationship, and you're expecting after loss, checking in with your partner still, that's a process that doesn't need to stop. That's something that has to continue the whole time.
You know what else that we didn't address? And I mean, that would be for you in comparison to you because your daughter was younger than when it happened, but you had a daughter that was older than when it happened, correct?
Yep.
So parenting after, because y'all had to juggle that as well.
I'm going to say the first couple of months my husband did better than I did. And I was trying so hard because she was only,
Very little.
I think she was 2. No,
she wasn't.
No, maybe she wasn't 2 yet. We lost her in November, so maybe she was turning 2 in that March. So he did a lot better than me because it's that man thing. I'm gonna keep everything together. It was hard for me to be there mentally when I wasn't all the way right because parenting is such a mental game. Like you gotta be like fully on to do it effectively. So yeah, he did a lot better than I did. But once I started really kind of coping and dealing with what we were going through, I was able to check back in for a little while there. For a couple of months, I was a little checked out. So it's hard when you have another child at home, and somebody said something to me. It was just like, well, and this is something that we should talk about as well.
Okay.
Somebody said to me, well, at least you have Peyton at home. As if that was going to, I had an aunt call me that said, well, you can always have another one.
No.
That's the number one thing that people say.
Man. That's wild.
And it's no, like, and they think that they're saying, I mean, and I know people mean well. And
gosh, that's the wrong thing to say.
And it's the first thing most people say. Yeah.
Because people are awkward with it, right? They don't know what to say.
Right.
But anybody listening, that is not it. That is like, I don't want to have another. I wanted this baby. Don't tell me I can have another one. I'm like, that's not what I'm thinking about right now.
The issue is it's dismissive.
It is.
And like, if you're going through something, like, I understand the issue is the person is trying to be better at like getting you to focus at something else. And I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to basically pivot. However,
they're trying to find a silver lining.
Right. Like
that's
hope.
that's not it.
Yes, it's not.
And then it's important when you're talking to women that have lost, don't minimize it, right? We're not, I understand it is 100% a different situation to lose, like, say, a child that you've had for 5 or 10 years or whatever, and that is different. But we don't minimize the miscarriage or the stillbirth because it was still a life.
Correct.
It still mattered to you. It was still important. And I almost would say, especially with the stillbirth, because I held my daughter. I had to pick out an outfit to bury her in and pick out a casket. That's different. I understand that when she was born, she had already passed. But it was still a life, and it still mattered. So when you're talking to women that have experienced loss, and I get it, it's meant to be helpful, but sometimes it just comes off as dismissive, and it comes off as you're trying to minimize it. Like, I get it. She's losing my daughter would be completely different than losing my 3-year-old. I 100% understand that, but it is still a loss.
Correct.
You can't take those memories out of your mind like it didn't happen. Oh, I didn't realize I could just have another kid. Like, just take all these funeral memories out of my mind. This terrible day.
Because then it's things like, well, I don't have any memories with her necessarily, but it's things of what could have been.
That, yeah.
Well, you do have memories of them because it's the memories of me preparing for this.
Right.
It's me.
It's my baby shower.
Right,
It's yeah.
Your baby shower, you thinking of names, like you feeling them kick. Like there's so many things that happened during that 9-month period. If you make it through the full 9 months, or just in the process of realizing you're pregnant, because that happens to a lot of people. Like they realize they're pregnant and they plan. You begin to do things differently. You begin to change your life to model it as being a parent, because you're making this next step, and then for it to stop suddenly.
Mm-hmm. All the plans that you had, and I am a compulsive planner. It's like my sister-in-law is probably smiling back there because, like, you know, I've got my kids' birthday plans.
She crying a little bit, but she's smiling.
Your light skin, it shows too. I start planning like as soon as I know something is happening. Like my son is only a month and I have his christening planned for the spring. So, you know, that's just where my mind goes. So you start to, when you lose, you start to think about all those plans that you started making, you know, like, oh, I was having a girl. So I'm like, oh, Peyton and Madison will take this photo shoot together and I'll buy them matching outfits. And, you know, so those are things that are really hard. And you're right. From the moment a woman or a couple finds out that they're expecting, you start planning. And it is very hard to shift in an instant your mindset.
And to be planning, like to go from that to start planning, like you said, like your
From a baby
funeral.
shower to
Yo,
a funeral.
bro,
It's crazy.
Because they're gonna take advantage. First of all, you probably, you know what I mean, like you're forced to deal with the stuff that you probably don't want to deal with right away, because they're like, yo, you have to tell them exactly what it is that you want to do. You know what I mean? Like you have like maybe like a day or two to be able to say what your intentions are. You have this funeral. It's like, all right, I got to pick out all this stuff. I also got to meet with a funeral director. Like you got to pick out the outfit. But they're also trying to like sell you merch. Like, you know what I'm saying?
The
like,
prayer cards.
for real, like that's.
Oh, this casket would be. I'm like, yo.
I was
That's-
very fortunate where
See, and this
I
is why
didn't
Jesus
handle
flipped
any
the
of
table.
that. I didn't handle any of that. My husband and my mom did. The only thing that I did was pastor came to the hospital and asked me how I wanted the service to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only thing. And I think I had already bought my daughter's matching dresses. So I already had what so that was
They
was
give you,
it.
Like a catalog.
But it was
It's
You
weird.
can have this thing with the thumbprint on it.
What's
You know what I'm saying?
jarring
Like, you got a
is-
blanket we can make for you with it.
yeah. What's jarring is they're like, you know, when it comes to burial, and I don't want to get too morbid here, but that's kind of the topic.
Here
But
we are.
when it comes to burial at Oak Grove, they have a plot of land that is
Specifically for children.
specifically for children and it's unmarked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, absolutely not. I couldn't think
Wait,
of
what
like
happened?
they at Oak Grove they have a plot for children that is unmarked. Infants or you know.
Wait. So there's like just like a bunch of them.
I'm sure
in
that
the same
they.
spot?
I didn't see it.
What a lot of times what happens is headstones are very expensive.
Correct.
So a lot
Funerals.
of right. So just getting the burial done is most of what people can do, and not for nothing. It's like headstones are like commemorating your loved one. So there's a lot of people who want to go all out and do probably more than they, than maybe they should in terms
Right.
of affordability, and it goes unfinished, and people don't get their headstones. So I know at Oak Grove, there's just a lot of land with buried people.
Also,
And there's no headstone yet, or
and because of where we live, they only bury people at certain times of the year.
Yeah, because if
I
it's
mean,
cold.
Before
they
the-
only set my bad. They
Oh, yeah,
Only
set
do headstones,
headstones
yeah.
at certain times of the year.
I got
Did
So
you
you-
make yours
like,
and
you
get
have
it in
to-
time?
And
The
they're
headstone?
specific though,
No, we
like the
haven't gotten it
dimensions
yet.
and all that. It's a whole thing.
It's
And also, I mean, for us, for our, I don't know about you guys, but in our religion, we've been taught that we don't go back to cemeteries. My grandmother and that's actually where my daughter is buried. She's buried with my grandmother.
Oh.
Yeah. She told us not to put a headstone. She was like, "Don't come back here. I'm not there." That's what we believe, right? Or this is just bones. This is just a body. I'm not there. So she told my mom not to put a headstone, and so she didn't. However, now my daughter is buried with my grandmother, and my husband, who is very much so not in my religion, does believe in going back to visit the gravesite, and so we went last year. And we're like, this is still unmarked. We probably should take care of that, and I'll do that for him. It's not what I believe. I don't actually really want to go back because that's just doesn't bring me comfort. But I'll do it for him, and he'll be able to have a space. Yeah, he'll be able to have a space.
Whatever it's like, whatever you believe, you do. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
'cause, like, whatever their process of grief is. Maybe some people might want to return because we was taught the same thing. But it's like do what you got to do. Like,
Right.
You're not getting ready to tell me like I know that they're not there. I
Right.
believe that
Right.
they're in heaven. But this makes me feel close,
Right.
so I'm doing it. It
And
don't
having
really
their
matter
name-
where I pray at. If I pray,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Having their name, anywhere. Like, I remember I got a piece of mail from Bay State with his name on it, and I was just like, like it felt.
Oh,
I
that's
was
tough.
sad, but it felt good for him to be acknowledged.
I remember going off, right? So we the funeral. Oh no, it was the newspaper. My mom had put
She
in a
did.
whole obituary,
Mhm.
and the newspaper sent us a plaque with the obituary on it, and I went off because I'm like, who in the world wants it? Like, it's like a plaque that you can like hang up on the wall. I'm like, who wants this?
Yo,
Why
some
would
people
you?
be
But
wanting
some people want
They
it.
had,
want
I tell you, I
those,
think,
yeah.
I literally had a catalog of things that you could get. That's what I'm saying. The memorabilia is nasty. You know what I mean? Like it's. But if you want that sort of thing, like they can give it to you.
I mean,
but
I
they're,
understand
But they're
it.
trying to sell it to you, and you're most vulnerable
Yeah.
to try to buy that
Right.
because it feels like, yo, if I don't do this, I don't love my kid. So you know what I mean? Like
From
it's
what
like, I don't do this. I gotta make it happen.
From what I can say, and I know we talked about Empty Arms earlier, they were very supportive and very helpful. They did, and again, I don't want to sound morbid, but they did a whole photo shoot with her. And so we have a ton of pictures.
I mean, that's
that-
kind of cool though.
It
It
is.
I mean, it's
But
It
it's, these are, and I'm gonna put them in a photo album of some sort. But I mean, it's not something I'm gonna hang up
I get you.
around my
Yeah.
house. But we
I have a picture of my son's feet.
they did
just
a
his
whole.
feet.
When I tell you, like I don't want to be morbid, guys, but they gave her a teddy bear, and they did. It was
Yeah.
literally a
Yeah.
photo
Yo,
shoot.
the hospital did that. So,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, yo,
yeah.
I
It
was
was-
like,
it
yo,
was
I don't
nice.
even know
I
what
liked
y'all-
it.
Like, I can take a picture with your hand on it. I was like, yo, I'm literally never gonna look at this. Like, you know what
Nah,
I'm saying?
I
Like,
mean,
like that's what I'm
yo,
saying.
So
because I understood, like, for her, like that was I didn't, like I said, I ain't seen nothing about nothing. But for me, like, they in a box, they're never gonna come out.
We did on the anniversary, and we did it with our daughter. And because we talk about Madison, like she existed. When I refer to
She did
myself,
exist.
exactly. When we refer to myself, I always say, oh, I had 3 kids. So we sat down, and my daughter's only 3. But we sat down and we said, this is your sister. And it was emotional, but I want to be able to tell, my daughter and my son, like, you did have a sister. So those pictures, and they're not something that I'm pulling out and looking at every day. Haven't looked
Right.
at them in a year.
Right.
But it is nice that we do have them. And it's nice that, it can bring some kind of comfort.
So I mean, I understand it's morbid, and I get it. I get it from the point of view of, like, people want something to remember them by.
Yeah.
And, like, that's why I don't like the way it's presented, but I mean, at the same time, they do have to do something, because it's not like they can wait a week and be like, all right, I'm gonna wait till you groove a little bit and then come
Right.
back.
I
So-
don't know what
Kinda
funeral
thing.
homes y'all were dealing with, but I don't. From what I was told, especially because I didn't deal with the whole process. They didn't sell anything really. They gave the
It-
prayer
it's-
cards
it
for
literally
free.
is a catalog.
Oh,
Yeah.
see,
It's like-
no. And I don't know, maybe that's because there was somebody that was working at the funeral home that goes to our church, Miracle, was working, and she kind of helped the process, but
She wasn't working there when I was there.
Nah, that's
Oh,
the problem.
You
You,
went-
you didn't have the
she-
inside.
yeah, we went,
No, but-
and that's the other thing too. Shout out to Henderson's,
Yeah.
awkward,
I
but
know.
they know my family.
Right, exactly.
She
And
was
so it
great.
was very comfortable to go to her because she had done.
That's who you go
many
to,
people,
Ryan.
you
Don't
know,
you know
like,
that?
Yeah.
All the black
That's-
folk go there.
That's our.
That's
that's
your
our.
favorite.
I ain't gonna hold you. I did
I was
see
like,
a little dog tag,
Harold's
but
just got their
it remains in the box. Like, I never opened it.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, with the little print on there, like his name engraved in it. It's just I can't do it.
She
Nah, I
did. She
don't
did
think I
the
could
prayer
look at
cards
it.
for free. She
Like-
did. Yeah. It's like I said. Those aren't. They're not things that I look at often. And you know, the one thing I did, like I went and I got a tattoo with her name. But the pictures, no, they're not something. But it is nice to. And as we continue to heal, because like it is a journey.
Right.
Maybe eventually that'll be something that I'll be okay with, and it'll be a little easier over time.
Right. And like you have been saying, you know, throughout the show, everybody grieves differently. It is a real process, and depending on, you know, who you're partnered with, if you're married or single, it lends to its own thing, and you're not wrong the way that you grieve. You're not. I'll say also, don't care too much about anyone else's feelings, because if you don't get right, you're not going to be any help to anybody else. So even if you feel like you're being short, even if you feel like you're being dismissive or you're isolating, you have to do what you have to do for yourself. I pray that you have a village, and that is one of the reasons why I wanted to have this event that's coming up on Saturday, is so that your village will just be privy to the things that could come up. And that's why I'm also glad that we had the conversation, because there's a lot of things that you just don't know. I mean, and even as a parent going through it, you don't know until it happens. So just being able to provide some of those weird, unknown facts that may come up, we just want you guys to be able to kind of like keep that in your mind. It's kind of like when they teach you CPR, it's like you hope that you never have to use it.
Right.
But, at least you know the basics, some of the tools to help somebody if they're in need. So this is kind of that. Like, we just want to be able to allow people to hear and see the different stages, the different levels, the different ways in which things can go down, so that if you ever find yourself in that predicament, or again, someone in your village, someone you love, someone you care about, ends up in that situation, you're kind of able to be an ear, being a support of in whatever way that you can.
Well, where is the? You tell us again where the event is happening. When it's happening.
It is happening this Saturday, October 7th at Deliverance Center Ministries, 336 Springfield Street in Springfield, Massachusetts, from 12 to 2. I called it Coffee and Conversation. There will be refreshments. And again, we're just talking about, a part of life. There will be other moms there to share their stories. My story isn't necessarily unique. In terms of, when I had my son, Janae, her pregnancy was totally different. She was 39 weeks. There's a mom that'll be there whose son was diagnosed in utero with, I forget what it was, but they knew he would pass once she delivered. So there's just different situations, and again, we just want you guys to be aware of some of the things that could happen. We pray that you never have to be the 1 in 4, but if you are, just come, and we'll have people there who may even be able to support you in your process.
Thank you. And at this point, it's hours after 10:30. Yo, appreciate Janae for coming
Yes.
through.
Thank you so much.
Oh.
I'm so glad you came.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you
guys.
sharing your stories and the things that you have gone through. Hopefully they were helpful to for the people that listen. It really be on that re-listen, yo.
Yeah,
You
it
know what I mean?
does. It does.
Um,
And I
would
do
like
want to.
For the record, Anna Serve told everybody that she's sorry for the loss.
Oh,
What's good, Anna?
Hey, Anna.
And she said, what up? It was also
I-
an audio issue, but we fixed it.
Do want to thank you guys for sitting in on the conversation. Not the most fun or comfortable conversation to have, and I do appreciate the questions that came out, and not being, not hesitating to ask and like provide the feedback that you did, because again, fathers grieve too.
Yeah.
Dads are a part of the process, so we never want to forget that is the case as well. So.
Appreciate it, and it's dope to be able to have everybody in the room. So as we continue to join out, we're gonna leave you. Shout out to Becky and B Sweets by Becky. You can go to B Sweets by Becky on Facebook. There's a Facebook channel. Say B Sweets by Becky. I feel like when I say words over and over again, because I gotta do it with my kids. If I don't say it 3 times, it's a wrap. so B Sweets by Becky on Facebook. Definitely make sure that you patronize her business.
And it's actually good.
Yeah.
It's
looks
really
good.
good.
It looks
good and it tastes
and
good.
it tastes good as well. Yeah, amen. If all hearts and minds are clear, we want to direct you to spreadtheword.store
You know it.
and spreadthegoodword.com.
Listen.
Yep. For all of your Christian apparel needs. So appreciate everybody watching on DBN, Digital Boombox Network. Thank you for those watching on the Logic Base Collective YouTube channel. We're asking that you would consider sharing, and subscribing to our channel for continued adult conversation. That's not XXX. There's an episode we had back in the day. You'll get the joke.
Or dislike,
Oh my God.
comment, and share. Dislikes are cool too.
Yeah. If you dislike, comment, and share. I feel like just because of subject matter, but maybe that's just something I would say anyway. So, yeah. But that episode, if you look for the episode, it's on there. So and you'll see oh that's a callback. So anyway, we're gonna so anyhow, 336 Springfield Street, 12 noon on Saturday. October the 7th, this coming Saturday, will be that event. So definitely it's called Coffee and Conversation. I don't know if there'll really be coffee.
There
Like-
will, yes, there will be
Hot
coffee.
chocolate
We
and
just
tea.
be saying stuff. I'm
Everything.
just
There will,
it's a continental breakfast. Like, what does that mean?
Denise Nelson is
An
waiting
English
to
muffin and a glass of water. Like,
The freshest cantaloupe.
right.
I gotta make sure that's there.
I feel like we've laughed too much during this episode.
That's
Like,
okay.
it's
Yo,
all right.
Laughing
it's
is also a
healing.
coping mechanism. Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
And
need
then I
that.
laugh through the horrible things. So
I know, it's not awkward.
Listen, I got a nervous laugh. I just let it out.
It's a great thing, guys. So until next time, thank you for everybody watching on the channels that you're watching on. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back on next Monday, same bad time, same bad channel. But until then, allow Jesus to be the lotion that lathers your ashy soul.
Amen.
Yeah.
You're holy and righteous. You're holy, no one beside you. Magnificent.
presence. You're an awesome God. You are perfection. So let the mirror of your spirit make correction.